Hello you inky squirmholes, Jim Sterling here, and this is Everybody's Gone to the Rapture. Oh yes, everyone's doing that there Rapture thing. This is the latest game from the Chinese Room, the folks responsible for Dear Esther, and Amnesia: A Machine for Pigs. I thought Amnesia was alright, A Machine for Pigs, quite liked it. Not a big fan of Dear Esther, so obviously take my opinions on this game for what they are. This is a pre-recorded bit of the game that I played last night. I just kind of hit the share button after I felt I'd played some stuff. The game's about wandering around,
Can you hear me? Are you out there, you bastard?
looking at people having a story, their own story that you're not part of.
You got them all?
It's a thing. This is towards the end of a certain chapter of the game, obviously spoilers, etc. I wanted to get it from the beginning, but my hard drive was so full of prototype and Binding of Isaac footage that it failed to record from the beginning.
Hello?
So this is just a bit.
Hello, is anyone there?
This is a priest praying outside of a church, which
Anyone
is
still there?
stupid. He can't hear you outside a church. Everyone knows that. God can't see or hear things outside of churches.
I should have expected that.
That's why Highlanders don't fight in them. Everyone knows that. It's in the Bible.
Let's get this over and done with. I've got my parishioners to attend to.
I was heading into the church. This is kind of a post-apocalyptic game, sort of. You know, it's what some people are calling it. It's like everyone's not there. And so you're wandering around this empty Shropshire village following lights. And then the lights show you these sort of echoey, radiant images of people. In the lead up to, you know, whatever these cataclysmic events were. Which, I mean, not much difference between this and Homefront's story campaign. Because you are, yet again, just kind of a camera person observing someone else's story that they're all invested in, but you've not been given much of a reason to be invested in it yourself. So yeah, I didn't find it particularly thrilling. This is where you tilt the DualShock to basically tune in. You move the light left and right. Up until this point, tilting, you just find the right spot and it would instantly work. Here, you have to hold it in place, but the game didn't tell you that, so it actually took me a while to work out what the hell was going on. Eventually, I get it. But I was already annoyed by the game at this point, and so I was losing my temper, so I wasn't really holding it where it should have been held. But I do it in a minute. Oh yeah, at this point I was just tilting left and right, probably making fart noises, I don't know. One thing I do like about the game is that the DualShock, oh yeah, I nailed it there. The DualShock glows pink for a lot of it, and I've never seen, I've always seen it go blue, green,
through all the earth.
Orange. Very rarely see pink come out of the DualShocks.
To the end of the world.
Light at the top.
In them hath he set a tabernacle for the sun.
What, tabernacle's funny? A lot of religious words sound rude. Tabernacle.
Who art in heaven,
Wimple.
hallowed be thy name.
Wimple. I mean, honestly.
Oh God. Oh God.
That's some fine Rapture in there. Yeah. So anyway, the game's kind of like that. Wander around for ages. Wondering where the sprint button is. Which no reviewer found. And apparently there was one. The game doesn't tell you. You look in the options, look for in the control menu and everything. It doesn't tell you there's a sprint button. And then this morning, or late last night, the Chinese Room basically were like, oh yeah, we probably should have mentioned that in the game somewhere, but if you press R3, you can run. R3. I think that's the only button I didn't press to try and find a run button, because why would you? It's very pretty looking, it's a pretty game. Got a nice visual style, it's got really lovely music. The music is beautiful. But it is also that kind of Supergiant do it sometimes, where the music is kind of almost like the stand-in for the writing and then the player investment. Where it's like, well, if the narrative we put down fails to grab their attention and makes them feel, quote-unquote, the emotions, then the music will do it for them, because it will just instinctively spark that kind of, the reaction we want. Which is, you know, music can be used to make a really good scene better, but sometimes it can just be a bit of a passcode to get the reaction you want without actually working for that reaction. And I get that a lot from bits of this. Wendy. So that's the name of, basically, as you go throughout the game, you go into various areas that have a character that most of the dialogue and scenes revolve around. So this is kind of Wendy's set of things, sort of the story, as it were, with her kind of perspective, I think. Anyway, my review's up on thejumquisition.com. I wasn't very taken by it. I had some people telling me that they enjoyed it because it was a breath of fresh air and a change of pace, and I can't say I agree. I think every time a game like this comes out, people praise it as this unique breath of fresh air, and I think we're kind of past that now. These games that are, you know, somewhat derogatorily called walking simulators and what have you, they're old hat. Like, Dear Esther was years ago. The Stanley Parable is an old game by now. Gone Home is, you know, that's been established a long time ago. A Machine for Pigs. A whole bunch of other lesser-known ones that I've played on this channel, of games that are, you know, just music and talking while you walk. These narrative-driven explorative games are not that unique anymore, and we need to stop praising them for their uniqueness, as if every time one comes out it's new.
That bloody dog kept me awake, and there was that thing in the sky. The radio says it was an electrical storm, but I don't know what it was. This morning, I found some dead birds in the garden.
I'm sorry to hear that. I wonder if it might have had something to do with the atmospheric conditions.
Why, Stephen will probably know. I'll give him a call in a bit.
Wendy, I've popped around because we've had some incidents with some of the more elderly residents.
I actually put the subtitles on just for you guys.
Well, vanished, for want of a better word. Wandered off somewhere, no doubt. I thought I'd best check and see you're all right.
The council are talking about a flu epidemic.
He reminded me, Vanishing of Ethan Carter, that's another one.
No headaches.
At this point, I was drawn by that lampshade, because I've not seen one of those in years, those papery, bally ones.
Go and find some real sick people to look after. And if you see that son of mine, tell him that his mother's looking for him.
Yeah, I mean, I just... It's hard for me to... And maybe I'm the Philistine for this, but it's hard for me to get invested in a game's story when it's told in brief snippets with characters I've been given no reason to care about, who have no depth because they do just very briefly sort of chat for a bit with no sense of purpose or belonging in the world that's really evidenced. You know, Gone Home was a different experience because, you know, first of all, your character had a purpose for being there. You were already given a sense of belonging in that world. And you really got to know, like, a handful of personalities, which made me more invested in the story it was trying to tell. The Stanley Parable, of course, had the story unfold as a direct response to the choices you make, which gave me that sense of agency and that exploration reward, as it were. The Vanishing of Ethan Carter, of course, had you construct the story yourself, which gave you that investment. When I'm just looking at brief... And then, of course, the story itself was more coherent and and I got a greater sense of who those characters were than I do from this. Here, most of my thoughts about the characters are bunch of arseholes, really, especially the one who becomes sort of the main apparent one. Total prick. Anyway, at this point I was ignoring the light a bit just because I was exploring around. And over the course of the game's lengthy running time, I got less and less interested in exploration.
Yeah. First thing in the morning. Don't want the kids to catch this flu if it's going round.
It's probably that Father Jeremy, spreading it around while he tries to bully everyone into donations for the summer fete.
It seems very quiet in the village, actually, Wendy. Not much bullying to be done.
Oh, Father, I didn't know you were here.
Clearly. Listen, I came up here to tell Amanda that we've had some vandalism in the village. Must be a teenage thing. Tagging, I think they call it. Someone's painting all over doors and things.
Little vandals. Well, I'll tell Neil to make sure we're properly locked up when we go.
A good man like my Eddie gone. And these thugs and yops running around defacing property. He gave everything to his country, and look what he got in return. Nothing but an early death.
He had a good life, Wendy.
He had a short life.
You
I
tell
look to
him.
my birds, Father. Lives lived unencumbered, free and simple. That's as God meant things to be.
It kind of lost me towards the end there with the bird bit. But you do you, Wendy. You do you. Yeah. So another thing in the game, which you'll see in a minute, is there are radios as well. Radios and telephones, and they divulge bits of the story as well. Which could have been an interesting story. I mean, the bits of the premise are promising, but it reminds me of Ethan Carter in that way of I'd rather just be involved in that story rather than looking at the relics of it. It's like,
every computer in the observatory has set itself to 6:07
if this story was an actual game, I'd probably be into it. But the game is me watching other people experience it, and I don't know. I don't personally get into games simply to observe the experiences of other fictional characters. I mean, some of that can work, but, well, I mean, ultimately this one just didn't. This one just didn't work for me. Some sporting goods there. Gardening things. Does a good job of sort of getting that sort of countryside English look. So one thing I did say in the review is, as an immigrant who moved from the UK many years ago, I haven't actually been back in the UK since 2008, I did get a kind of sense of enjoyment from some of the authentic details here. Just something as simple as that spherical lampshade and the way keyholes look on the doors. Just little touches, little subtle things that you really do take for granted while you're living there, but just sort of feel weirdly nostalgic. Like, I shouldn't feel nostalgic looking at the texture on a bit of metal, but it's like, oh shit, there is that bit of metal texture that I don't see out here. It is a weird thing, but it does kind of make you feel not necessarily homesick, but certainly home something. Anyway, this is where I knew I was going to end the video recordings. I was going to hit share in a second, so I'm going to go. That's a bit of that. Yeah.